All right, so today, thank you for those of you that are going to join this or watch as we go through this training today. And I believe as Mitch has talked about, we're going to talk about self-sabotage today, and what is it? Why do we do it? And what are some ways, some tools that we could use so that we could recognize it, right? Have this self-awareness of what's going on, the self-sabotaging behaviors and patterns that we have, and how can we get around like some pattern interrupts that would come in place of those so that we can actually continue down the path to get what it is that we want inside of our life. So whether you're in this group as a loan officer or a realtor, building your empire to build your business, to provide for your family, to create the lifestyle that you want, whether you're here for some other reason, like we all have this self-sabotage that shows up for us inside of our life. So what is self-sabotage, right? I mean, if we're going to talk about self-sabotage, what really is it? They're behaviors or patterns that ultimately really don't serve us. So when we talk about what it is or how to define it, it's behaviors that do that, just that do not serve us. Like if we're headed in a direction, right? If we're headed down a path, self-sabotaging behaviors would have us thrown off the tracks, would have us try to go down another track, would have us having like this shiny object syndrome. We're like, we're going, and then all of a sudden we get easily pulled off down a different direction. But it's a direction that does not serve the way that we were going. Like if you set goals and outcomes inside of your life, sometimes things will be going so well that you quit doing them, right? Have you ever done that inside of your life? Have you ever heard that saying, like, it works so well that I quit doing it? And I'm going to have you consider here for a second, and this is a concept in a training that I've gotten from one of my good friends, coaches, Paul Mort, and I'll have you consider that there isn't actually such a thing as self-sabotage. And stick with me, right? Because why is that? Because the self-sabotaging behavior or pattern that you have, like there's a payoff to that. There's a reason why we do these things. And so we're going to take some time to dive into that. Like why? What are the benefits? What are the payoffs? And so again, if self-sabotage is a behavior that doesn't serve us, I'm going to go through this model or this tool that you can use. And I would highly recommend that you do this, that you actually take some time and you go through this exercise yourself. Like get out a journal, get out a pen, and like write it out, get it from out of your head down onto paper. And so here we go. So the first thing you're going to list is what are these behaviors or patterns that you have that don't serve you, that are self-sabotaging you from creating the outcomes that you want, whether it's to lose weight, whether it's to run a marathon, whether it's to make more money, whether it's to have an amazing marriage or relationship with a significant other or with your children, whether it's spiritually and being more connected to your God, or whatever that looks like for you. There's behaviors and patterns that don't serve those outcomes or targets that you say that you have for yourself. And so we're going to investigate this, and we're going to go through these, and then I encourage you to do the same thing for yourself. So what are some behaviors or patterns that are self-sabotaging? One that is, for many, could be alcohol, could be food, any form of sedation. I mean, for some, let's be real, it could be porn, sleeping in, social media. Instead of doing what you know that you should be doing, you go to your phone and you scroll, and it's an hour later. You don't know what just happened with the time or where it went. You didn't use it to get the things done that were required inside of your life that would help you to get closer to your goals inside of your life. And yet we find ourselves on our phones just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And so I'm going to pick one of these, and I'm going to go ahead and let's just focus on alcohol. Like, right? It's great. And for some, it's not so great. But there's definitely some self-sabotaging that can take place for many inside of alcohol. And so I talked about it earlier, right? There is a benefit or a payoff. There's a reason why we self-sabotage. And so we're going to take a look into this. Like, what are some of the payoffs or benefits of alcohol? It's a release, stress reliever to help you fit in, right? You might have heard of it, liquid courage. We use it to celebrate. You have a big win, you make a big sale, you have a big event inside of your life. Alcohol to celebrate, possibly to escape some of the things that are going on that are heavy inside of your life, whether it's inside of relationships, whether it's inside, maybe you just got let go at work, maybe you just lost a deal that you've been working on for months and months and months, that was, you already kind of started counting the coins or the chips in your bank account before they actually got there, and then you lost it at the last second, and so you go to alcohol. So there is a benefit or a payoff to these behaviors. We talked about it a little bit, liquid courage, or another way of saying that, right, would be confidence. And so these are some of the benefits and the payoffs. And now next, I want to focus on, like, there's also some actual costs, some real costs to the self-sabotaging behavior. And so let's take a look at some of these real quick. And the first is what's the impact on you and others, like others that are important to you? So what's the impact to you and to others? What are some of those impacts? It could be, you get fat, overweight, no energy or low energy, right? If you drink a lot or you drink too much, out late, low energy. Low energy can lead to low production inside of your business, but also inside of all areas of life, right? If you are low energy, if you're low production, like you're fatigued, you're gaining weight because of the alcohol, you're not going to work out, right? You might not work out as often. It's going to take time, potentially away from family. It's going to impact your family. So you're a poor example to our family. Like, no one grows up wanting to get married and have children and with the goal that, like, man, I just want to be this bad example for my kids and for my wife or for my spouse or my significant other. Like, we all want to be the shining light that is going to show them the way and show them the path. And so alcohol is something, especially if it gets to the point where it's detrimental to you and to those that are close to you, that it's just not that. So here's some other examples, like, it can make you triggered easily, right? You get frustrated, you get upset over the littlest things because of alcohol. You end up taking time away from the family potentially because you're tired, because you have low energy, because your production or your performance is going down. So then you end up putting more time into the business away from those that are important to you because of your lack of efficiency. So here's some of the real costs and impact to you and to others. Like, what are some costs that are potential inside of, like, the past with alcohol? For some, it could be a DUI or arrested, right? Get in a fight. For some, it's, a lot of wasted money. Like, it costs money to go out and to drink and to be out and socializing with friends. It definitely impacts and affects relationships. Some of us may have grown up with alcohol in the home and not in a loving manner, to where, like, it's really impacted you from your past and maybe even helped to mold who you are and even your worldview on life because of alcohol. So those are some of the past. And then here's would be some of the future, the last piece to this. What are some of the future potential and real costs to alcohol? It could be death, right? Disease, liver cancer, depression. Alcohol is depressant. Divorce, all of the D's, right? Death, disease, depression, divorce, absolutely impact your business. Could negatively impact it. It could cause the business to fail. It's suicidal. So as we take a look at these, and if you were to look at this from the outside looking in, let me shrink this down a little bit. So if we were to look at this from the outside looking in, and you were to look at alcohol, and maybe alcohol, you don't drink alcohol, right? And you were to look at somebody that self-sabotages with alcohol, and you were to focus on, all right, what are the actual benefits? And then what are the real costs? And if I were to look at this as an outsider, if I'd actually take this from my head and to put it into play down on paper in front of me, I would take a look at this and I'd be like, man, the costs significantly outweigh any benefit or payoff that there could ever be when I look at it like this, when I just like just the facts. I put it down on paper, I put it down here on my cool little Surface Pro, and I could look at that and be like, man, it is not worth it. But why do people still continue to self-sabotage in their life? Because the benefits, although they don't outweigh the costs, are way more immediate. Like the benefits and the payoffs to alcohol in the here and now, like it's a great reliever. It's a great escape. Like it might help you to fit in or to be more social, to have more courage, to celebrate the wins, to give you more confidence. Like those are real benefits and payoffs to alcohol. And, you know, versus these costs that we talked about that are far greater and far outweigh any immediate benefit and payoff that they are, but they're delayed. For the most part, almost every single one of these is delayed, and we don't really truly believe that it would happen to us, right? We always think that, you know, yeah, this is real, but you know, it's not going to happen to me. This will happen to somebody else. And we know the reality of it is that there's a very good high likelihood that this will happen to you if you continue to self-sabotage in this manner, in this example. And so again, you know, we continue to self-sabotage because we have these immediate benefits and payoffs that we see, and we don't take a look. We don't take time to even think about or look, or to be self-aware of what the real actual cost could be to myself, and not just myself, but to others as well, others that are important to me inside of my life. So how do we, or how can we recognize the behaviors that don't serve us, and then replace those with behaviors that do? And so there's something that Tony Robbins calls a pattern interrupt. And so the idea is to go through this exercise, to actually get it out of your head and onto paper so that you can take a look at it. And again, any rational human being is going to look at these costs versus the benefits and the payoffs and be like, all right, yeah, this makes no sense. Now that I look at it this way, like what are some ways that when I have the urge to drink alcohol, when I have the urge to eat the food, even though I know it's not going to help me to meet my physical goals, it's not going to help me to lose the weight that I want to lose. Anytime I have the urge to just scroll social media instead of do the work that's required in front of me so that I can make more money and support my family, like what are some pattern interrupts that I can put in place of that so that I can then continue to stay on the path that I want to stay on, that I've created for myself, so that I can go create the life that I really want. So what are some of these pattern interrupts? And so that would be the next piece to this is, you know, to find some behaviors that do serve you. And we're just going to replace them. Again, a big part of this is being aware that there are these self-sabotaging behaviors, and then going through this exercise and finding out that, yeah, there's some real costs here. I don't want that. What I really want is what I said that I wanted and the path that I've laid out in front of me. And so when I have these urges to have the drink, to walk in the kitchen and automatically go to the fridge, or to grab the snack because I'm bored, or because that's just who I've shown up for so long. It's ingrained in me. When I have those urges and I'm aware of this, what are some behaviors that I can do in place of that? And so that could be anything for you, and you're going to have to go through this exercise to figure it out. But let me give you some things that would help. You know, you could meditate. You could take 5 minutes and just meditate. You could do some air squats, like some stuff that really sounds maybe weird or funny, like air squats, or exercise, right? Any form of exercise or workout, you know, yoga, go for a walk. Instead of drinking the food, have a glass of water. You know, you could like have some accountability, have a group of friends that you can create a group with and go through, you know, a contest. Some of our clients that we have inside of our coaching program, Circle of Champions, there's a group of them that they create these competitions. Like, I'm not going to eat this, and this. I'm going to work out this often. And there's an accountability to come into the group and to know that, like, if they don't do it, or if they feel like having that piece of cake, but they said that they wouldn't, they're committed to it, and they committed to the brothers or their sisters that they wouldn't do it. Like, they're not going to, even though they want to. So they're not going to self-sabotage because they're committed to others outside of themselves. And so is there an accountability group that you could become a part of to help you inside of these behaviors that are self-sabotaging you? So again, you're going to go ahead and you're going to find the behaviors that do serve you, that act as this pattern interrupt for you so that you can no longer self-sabotage. And again, the only way that you're really going to make this a part of who you are, that you can get yourself from this person that's shown up this long, this way, routines, habits, rituals, trained, taught, and educated one way that has you showing up, is to actually go through an exercise and actually write it out, get it out of your head onto paper so that you can see, all right, here's the benefits and the payoffs. They're immediate, but they are far outweighed by the actual costs that are possible to me if I continue down this road. And it's not really what I want anyways, because I said that I wanted to do this thing. And so how can I find some behaviors that I can put in place of those when they come and arise inside of my life? And again, I just gave you a few ideas. Good friend of mine, Brian Stahl, Fidelis Mortgage, amazing business he has out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He created a list called, it's like the 20 things. And these are, for his business, for his lenders, loan officers, 20 things to get out of sales rut. And so he created this list for the people in his organization, and without really even knowing what it was called, without labeling it as a pattern interrupt, but that's exactly what it was. Like one of them was like, go get a haircut. One of them was like, take your clothes to the dry cleaner, clean shave for men, right? Just little things that can tweak and give you that pattern interrupt you need. And for his case, to make this sales, to get out of this sales rut. So what are the pattern interrupts for you, the behaviors that do serve you, that will continue to keep you on the path that you want to be, so that you can quit self-sabotaging yourself? Like, let's just get it out in the air, confront it, put it on paper, and then we can create the plan to move forward. Because those that plan, right, those that put something on paper, get it out of their head in front of them, are the ones that can go and perform at a high level. So with that, would love to hear any comments on like what are some of the biggest things that you've taken away from this short live video that we've done today, this training, and what are you going to do about it? Like, what will you take from this? Because it's one thing to go and collect information. It's another to actually get the information, to put it into play for yourself so that you can then go get a result, right? Because we can all read books and say that we read a lot of books and have a lot of information, but it does us no good if it's in a journal up on a shelf. It does no good if it's just in our head and we don't use it. So what is one thing that you've learned, if you watch this live or if you watch this later in replay, that you can actually take and implement into your life so that you can then go create the life that you really, truly want? So I just appreciate each and every one of you for taking that time. Thank you, Mitch, for allowing me the opportunity to come in here and to share some knowledge with you guys, and to share some things that I've learned along the way to help me to go to where I want to go. And so thank you for that. As I put in the post, like, grab a free copy of my book if you haven't yet. It's called The 100-Mile Mindset, free audio version. You just go to 100milemindset.com and you can grab a copy of that. And I just look forward to hearing the comments, hearing from you guys, and how this training has been for you, and what you're taking away from it, and what you will do to implement it into your life. So have a great day.